What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode. Today I'm in the garage right now rigging up rods for a trip tomorrow. I'm doing a collaboration with another YouTuber and basically just getting stuff set up. I had the idea that I wanted to show you guys my 2018 rod and reel arsenal. Now basically, as you've seen my boat and everything, I wanted to show you kind of more of the organization and the things that I do to help myself be more efficient on the water. So basically I'm going to show you right now my different rods and tell you guys about what I use on each rod. You can also see the stuff that I have rigged up on them for a day-to-day trip. You guys can get more of an idea basically of what I'm doing and then turn it around and use it yourself. Obviously I've got a lot of nice rod and reel combos here, but if you guys don't want to spend money on stuff that's as ridiculous as this, just so you know, you guys do not need to spend nearly this much money on gear. I started with an ugly stick, basically shore fishing, and worked up from there. But I've always been into art and customization as well as like custom vehicles and everything. And I think that's one thing that helps kind of wear off into my fishing. It helped me become more of an individual angler and helped kind of design the kind of reels that I do now, as you guys will understand as we get into it, how I've got a lot of cool custom gear, but I think it wore off from that stuff. So this is obviously not stuff that you guys need to use. However, it's cool and you guys will like the different rods and reels, and I'll show you guys how, basically what I'm using them for and how you can do that for yourself. So we're gonna start this, basically not gonna do it in any order at all. I'll just start with my one spinning rod that I use. This is a Wright and McGill Tony Roach walleye rod with a Shimano Stradic 2500 on there. Basically, the only thing that I use this for is drop shotting. It's a medium light 7'1". I've used St. Croix spinning rods and everything, and I like them. However, for some reason, this Wright and McGill really fits this reel really nice and creates a awesome drop shotting rod and reel setup that I like. And like I said, that's the only time I ever use a spinning rod anymore. I'm just not a fan of them. I'd rather throw a bait caster, but that's my one, that Shimano Stradic. That's a CI4, the old version. Basically, I think that ended in 2017. They came out with a new one, so this is the last year model, but it's still a really nice reel and everything, and for the price, you can't really beat it. This is like a $100 rod, so definitely something that, if you guys can find it, is something I would recommend. Then I guess we'll go up from there in the next like lightest one. So this is a Shimano Expride. This is gonna be the 7.2, I believe. Yeah, 7.2 medium light bait caster. Now this is something that you guys probably have never heard of, is a medium light bait caster. Most of the guys will be using a spinning rod for applications when you need a medium light rod. However, this, like I said, I prefer a bait casting setup over spinning any day. And this also has the Shimano Aldebaran BFS 50 reel from Japan. So being the BFS, what it means is its bait finesse system is what the reel is designed for. It's designed for fishing finesse stuff, which they do over in Japan and stuff a lot more with bait casters, and this rod is also a BFS setup. So it's definitely made for lighter stuff, which a lot of guys, like I said, will use on a spinning rod. However, for me, it's a lot more comfortable to use a bait caster, and as you can see on this one, I've got a Wacky rigged up right now. That's the primary use I use this rod for. I will throw Shakeyheads and even like light, super light Texas rigs on there, but it's really a good all-around rod and reel setup for super light stuff with the bait caster. And as you can see on there, I did add some custom parts, so I've got pink on this reel. I'm trying to do one of each color, so if you're hating on the pink and purple, that's the reason. Next, what we've got, let's just go to the purple one since I just mentioned that. This rod I have on here is a St. Croix Avid X. This is the 7.4 medium heavy, or 7.4 heavy actually. And like I said, I like custom stuff, so I've got another reel on here that's custom. This is a Shimano Metanium DC reel, and what I believe that's a 7.1, 7.2 gear ratio, something in there. I ordered specifically, I was gonna buy used, but I ended up having to buy new to get the gear ratio that I wanted. And I've got this one customized with the purple and cork grips. But being the DC what it is, it's a digitally controlled reel basically. So as you cast, the momentum of your spool going around somehow, I don't know exactly, I'm not that smart, it works to create a electronic braking for your reel, so you basically can never get backlashes. It's like really hard to get a backlash on this reel. Plus, what I've found with it is it casts ridiculously far, which is awesome. And like I said, the 7.4 Avid X, the cool thing I like about this rod that not many rods these days have, but I always look for, is a super long handle, because for me, I love using that second hand to get a nice whip out there. Plus, it's more comfortable when you're gripping it, fishing all day. And with that one, what I throw a lot of is jigs, frogs, but one thing I've been doing lately that is really unconventional is using it as a jerkbait setup. Now, a 7.4 heavy is not in any way what people would think of as a jerkbait rod. However, I've found that it's awesome. What I do with this is basically, instead of going down with your rod tip, I've been going sideways to get in front of the trolling motor. That way I can cast straight in front of the boat and fish right back to me along brake lines and stuff, instead of having to cover water sideways. And that's become a really nice setup for me. However, with the heavy action, what you have to do to not bend out hooks all the time is just really be careful reeling in the fish, give the fish, let them fight, and just don't horse them to the boat. Then, I guess the next one on my left side here is going to be another St. Croix rod. This is the brand new St. Croix Legend Glass. I believe this is the 7.2 medium heavy, or 7.2 medium. 7.2 medium, and as you can see in there, I've got a square bill right now in like a nice natural bluegill color. But what I've got on there is, being the glass rod, it's more of a moderate action, so it's going to have a lot more flex in the tip and everything. So using treble hooks and everything, like I said, you'll bend them out a lot of times, or the fish will shake on a heavier rod like I was showing you with the jerkbaits. But this rod being glass, it has a lot more tip to it, and it'll give more to the fish. So that way you don't have to worry about losing as many fish when using treble hooks. It also, I've got monofilament line on here, which I don't use too much. However, on this setup, I do kind of like it because that also has a stretch in the line, so it gives the fish more pull as well, so you don't have to worry about losing them a ton. And then what we've got for the reel is a Shimano Antares. This is a reel, basically this is the 2016 edition, I believe. They did make a new one since. And what it is a ridiculously expensive reel that is shiny and heavy, but it's awesome. It's got the micro module gearing system in there, which at the time of this reel, you could only get in the higher end reels like this. However, now they've added that into the Corrado K, which is really nice. So it gives you, when you're crankbait fishing and stuff, baits that typically dig and you can feel all day long, you can feel that rocking. As you fish it, this with the micro module gearing, it's got small teeth and a lot of them, so you don't have to worry about feeling that all day. Basically, it makes it ridiculously smooth, and if you're looking for a crankbait setup, that's definitely something to think about, is the micro module gearing from Shimano. And as you can see on that one, I've got some chrome handles as well as the blue finish on there, which makes it really cool. It matches with the blue logo on this rod and is a really expensive but really fun combo to fish. Then, one I've been using a ton lately, I wasn't too big of a fan of this at first when I bought it. This is a Powell Inferno rod. This is a 7.2 mag heavy frog rod. I bought this on Tackle Warehouse a couple of years ago. It was on clearance, and this was my first frog rod. I really wanted to get into frog fishing back then, and I never really did because I didn't like the rod too much. However, I don't really know what I didn't like about it. I just kind of got into that feeling that for some reason I didn't like it, and I never really paid attention to it and didn't fish it enough. But now that I've started again, I'm actually really liking this rod, and for the price that I paid, it was like 80 bucks on clearance or something. It's not a bad rod at all, plus it's really comfortable. It's got a nice long grip on there, and all in right now, I think this is one of my favorite rods, and this year so far, I've probably caught just as many, if not more fish on this rod than any other. And what I'm doing with this rod a lot, besides the frog fishing, as I just mentioned, I'm also using it a lot for flipping, and I've been flipping heavy cover, really shallow, a lot of fish. Like last week, I was catching tons of big largemouth in like 6 inches of water in brush and just different things like that, weed lines, and it's been a really fun rod to catch fish on. And for the reel for that, I've got another Japanese reel. This is a Megabass Viola, I believe. This is my only left-handed reel, but for flipping, it's really nice because I like to flip with my right hand on the rod. I can flip out there and automatically have the bait on bottom and basically get really sensitivity. I can always have that constant contact and I'm ready to go. Plus then I get a fish, I can set the hook and reel in with my left hand, always having contact with a rod for sensitivity purposes. And as you can see on that, I got that one fully customized as well. It's a really cool one. Plus it actually matches this rod really good with the orange accents. Then what we've got next is a set of twins here. And what it is I'll just show you one of them. They're the exact same rod and reel. This is a Shimano Zodias. This is a 7.2 medium heavy, another new rod that I got this year and I'm really liking so far. It's ridiculously light, and for that it's super strong as well. I haven't had any problems with these. They're, like I said, super light, super sensitive, and very comfortable to fish all day. And they also match this reel really good, which is the Daiwa T3 Ballistic. It's an old discontinued reel. I think the retail at the time it was around was like $250, so it's not the most crazy reel in the world. It's a little bit more than your Curados and stuff, so you can get nice gear for cheap as well, and you can find these on eBay all the time for like $100, which is really nice. I got an extended handle on there from eBay, which was like $6. I didn't want to go with anything crazy expensive, so I just ordered one from China, and it's really comfortable in your hand compared to the ones that came stock on this reel. But basically it's the same reel as that Megabass, however it's just the Daiwa branding instead of the Megabass limited one, and it's really comfortable reel. These things bomb baits out there ridiculously far, farther than any reel I've ever used, which is awesome. And like I said, it's a cheaper combo, but it's still really nice. Definitely gets you all around fishing. I've got a 7:1 gear ratio here and a 6:3 gear ratio here. The only thing I do different with them is the style of baits that I throw on them. This one is a good all-around one. I've got 30-pound braid on it. As you can see right now, I've got a swim jig tied on, but I can also use it for different things. Frogs I can use if I want to use a smaller frog in open water. I can also use it Texas rigs, different topwater stuff. Any moving baits like that, like the swim jig, swim bait, anything like that are really nice with this rod. Like I said, just a good all-around one. If you're looking for something for all-around, like a 7-foot to 7.3, 7.4, medium heavy is an awesome one with it, like a 7:1 gear ratio reel like this. And then the other one I have is the same thing. As I said, it's slower. It's a 6:3 gear ratio. I've got that rigged up with 12-pound monofilament. And throughout the year, I will only throw one bait on this. It gets set up and does not get taken off for the whole year, which is my Sammy. I don't know why, but fish around here love this bait, and it's ridiculously fun to fish. Being a topwater walking bait, it's something super fun to throw all day. It keeps you occupied when you're fishing it, and the fish love it. Last week, I think I threw it for 5 casts, and before I just turned it off and started flipping again because I was having fun doing that. But I wanted to use it a little bit, so I took 5 casts. I caught 3 fish out of the 5 casts, so it's an awesome little bait, and the fish just love it. But that is my arsenal for 2018. As you can see from my previous arsenal videos, I have downsized a lot, but upgraded. I sold a lot of my old gear and spent the money to get new gear, but less of it, which I'm really liking so far. It helps me become a better angler, I think, because rather than having a ton of different rods and only using a few, I've got them narrowed down. I've got baits for each one, and it helps me get confidence in each bait. So having the dedicated crankbait rod, I can use it for just crankbaits and get used to using it, know the feel, learn the bait itself a little bit better, and I think it really helps a ton. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and learned something. I will leave links and basically descriptions of every rod and reel combo and what I use it for in the description below. But we'll see you guys on the next episode. If you aren't already subscribed and like this video, we'll see you guys on the next episode.